Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Wireless Basics, Security and Breaches. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Hitesh Chaudhary, CTO and researcher at Igneous Technologies. Hitesh Chaudhary is a renowned and one of the youngest security researcher over the internet. He is mostly known for offering his services to police department and army intelligence for solving various typical cyber crimes. So far, he has presented many talks and workshops in various institutes and companies across India. His areas of interest includes web application security, open source, backtrack operating system, wireless and various others. Apart from this, he is also founder of a website, iTube. The link is www.itube.igneoustech.com, which is entirely dedicated to freely distribute various computer technologies via video lectures. One of his patent work is under filing process. He has also got interviewed by more than 20 media companies and channels like Times of India, DNA, Radio Mirchi, Pentest, India News, etc. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker, Mr. Hitesh. Over to you, Mr. Hitesh.
Thank you so much for handling me. Hello TechGeek viewers, and thank you so much for handling me. Without any delay, let us proceed about our topic, that is a wireless basic security and breaches. So wireless is kind of a very much known topic in the present scenario, and every day there are hundreds and not just thousands of wireless networks that are being installed in business and homes. Unfortunately, for many of these new wireless users, security is an afterthought, if it's a thought at all. The reason for that is most wireless users do not understand what are the risks associated by using a wireless network or wireless modem as well. So first about me, this is me, Hitesh Chaudhary. You can visit my profile, hiteshchaudhary.com, or you can contact me on the Facebook as well with this below mentioned link, or you can join me on the TechGeek as well, or you can mail me at hitesh@hiteshchaudhary.com. And a little about the company profile. Presently, I am being associated with Igneous Technologies. This is the URL of the company website. The company is contributing to the internet via iTube, where you can download all the variety of videos like Python, Java, and a bunch of others without login, absolutely for free. This was all about the company profile. So let's begin about our topic. So first of all, let us understand what is actually a wireless and how we are being associated with that. First of all, 802.11 is the protocol that is being decided by the IEEE organization, and it is being a network access technology for providing connectivity between a wireless station and a wireless network infrastructure as well. So the concept was connectivity everywhere. A person can have an internet access or access to any laptop just by roaming here and there. But with features, always flaws comes. So connectivity, how wireless can be a dangerous thing. To understand this concept, let's discuss a simple case scenario. Case scenario actually help us to understand what can be the consequences for not monitoring the security of the wireless. So let us discuss a simple TJ Maxx credit card incident. I have got a small PDF out here. So this is the TJ Maxx credit card incident. Let me just summarize this. In 2007, TJ Maxx credit card was one of the largest clothing selling retailer of the United States, and one of its store decided to, the store Sandford decided to not have a wire mesh over its vicinity and decided to go switch on to the wireless interface. What actually happened, some hacker also got to know about this, and he just found out that the TJ Maxx is using a wireless at St. Paul. What he did, he just sniffed entire air with his directional antennas and got a variety of credit cards and all such things. And the only vulnerability with TJ Maxx incident was that those people were using simply a barcode scanner that was simply a wireless one. So just by using a directional antenna, one could have a huge amount of credit card information and a bunch of other things. After that, when the incident was investigated, it was being assumed that these people are some Romanian hacker or something else. But who cares about these are Romanian or Italian ones after the incident happened? So the credit card incident was such a huge that TJ Maxx is still under the crisis of this incident. So they lost almost millions and millions of money. You can just go through with that, how much they lost in that. And the only vulnerability was that they were using a WEP based encryption. So now let us come back to the slide. And so we have seen that it can cause a lots of damage by using an unsecured wireless network. So what are the challenges in the wireless security, and why do we care so much about that? So first of all, challenges. First of all, the range is very much difficult to decide. Even I am sitting out here in a wireless network, I cannot decide that this wireless should not go beyond these 4 walls. Or you can say, we have to protect Mr. Invisible. I cannot feel a wireless or I cannot see that, but still I have to protect it. This is a very huge perspective to monitor. And the very important thing is attacks are very easy to implement and very hard to detect. One can easily do any kind of attack or sniffing, or even can breach into my network just sitting far and far away from here, just by using a directional antenna. Or as we have seen in the TJ Maxx credit card incident, that sniffing can be undetectable and can be very easy. In this entire webinar, I will show you a live scenario of how we can sniff the entire wireless network, but how we can even break the WPA or WPA2 network as well, and various other things also. So what are the software setup that we are going to require? First of all, we will be requiring one of the hacker's favorite, or you can say the pen test's favorite one, the Backtrack operating system. You can use any version of the Backtrack, but for this, for demonstration purpose, I'll be using a Backtrack 5 revision 2 version. And I'll be using that in a virtual box or a virtual machine. Apart from this, I'll be also using Alpha, that is an external wireless card, and there is no such need to use this Alpha card. Since I'm using all these scenarios in a virtual machine, that's why I'm going to need an external wireless card. You can also just live boot your laptops or something, your desktop, then you can also do all these things. Then we will be needing a Wireshark, very famous tool for sniffing the data and all these. And via the Wireshark, we will try to understand each and every packet details of this Wireshark. And rest all the tools are already pre-configured in the Backtrack machine, and we do not need to worry about that. So first of all, before getting a deep dive into the wireless network, let us go through with that thoroughly, because wireless is such a vast topic. Even Bluetooth is a wireless, and wireless has got many of technologies like spread spectrum that is being used by the military intelligence, and a WLAN, and a various bunch of others. So wireless LAN can be operated in 3 different frequency ranges, that is a 2.4 gigahertz, 3.6 gigahertz, and a 5 gigahertz. And further they are classified into the channels, that is a B channel, G, or N, whatever is being decided in your countries. Like in India, mostly G and N channel works out here. It is mentioned on your external wireless card or in laptop at the back end that which your hardware is being configured for which of these channels. So our laptops are only having a 1 wireless card and a 1 radio. Very important concept to note out here. That 1 radio, how it is possible that only a 1 radio can detect many of the wireless? So now here comes the concept of time division multiplexing. What actually happens out here? Your card just hop into the different channels at the different time. Let's say at time T1, your card is in the channel 1. Then at time T2, it will hop into a different channel like channel 5. In this way, your card just monitors out each and every network that is being available in the vicinity. So this was all about the frequency range concept. I hope it is a little bit clear out here. Now, before getting or learning any of the topic, the very much mandatory thing is to learn about the terminologies. So we have got some software terminologies as well as hardware terminologies. First of all, let us look about the software terminologies. To understand the software terminologies, we will put up a question that how a wireless network is detected by the client. In fact, if I just boot up this window panel out here, it is detecting a wireless and the Ignis. So how it is possible that Windows detect this? So to answer this question, here comes a term that is known as the beacon frames. And the router, or which you say the access point, I'll call that as an access point, and my laptops or the smartphones as the wireless clients. Now what actually happens, our access point broadcasts some of the packets into the air to show its presence. And these packets are known as the beacon frames that are being broadcasted freely into the air, and whatever the client, smartphones, laptops or any other comes nearby these packets or are able to catch these packets, that is a beacon frame. They get to know about that, yes, this is a network available in the vicinity. Similarly, the clients also broadcast some of the packets that are known as the probe request packet to show its presence, that yes, I am here and available, and whatever the post consequences or the post configuration are there, like it is WP or password generated open, whatever else is there, is being monitored by the client. So now comes the architecture terminologies. Architecture terminology is very important to note down because we will be dealing with our entire session on behalf of this only. First of all, we have got BSSIDs and all these. So this is our access point, and this is our distribution system, and another access point, and some stations are also, these laptops are also known as the stations. First, we have got a base service set identifier. Then we have got a ESSID. And ESSID you can consider as a simple name that is being popping out here. That is, let's say the wireless is ESSID out here, and Ignis is the ESSID out here. So this is the very simple concept. And then we have got a stations, distribution system, and a bunch of others. So now let us first discuss how the sniffing can be dangerous and how sniffing can be done over the wireless network. To understand the sniffing over the wireless, first we need to understand how sniffing can be done over the wired network. So actually, whenever a packet is being sent out from a wired network, there's a destination header out here in his packet that tells it that this is the IP where you have to reach out, and only the person which it is being destined sees out the packet. But what we can do, we can put our wired network or a laptop in the promiscuous mode, that whatever the packet are being traveled into the wired network, we can easily see them. So this is the promiscuous mode. In the wireless network, we call this the same thing as the monitor mode, that whatever the packet that are being traveled, that are being traveling in the air, we want to monitor that, and simply we can put our card into a monitor mode. And this is why the virtual interface concept comes. So let us directly deal with that in a live scenario, and hope it is visible. So this is the interface, and if I do a ifconfig out here, I cannot see any of the virtual interface card out here. So let me just plug in my card. The card is being detected, okay. And now if I do a ifconfig, it's taking just a minute to up the card. Here it is. I can see a WLAN card out here that is a wireless card. Now, how to make our card into a monitor mode? For that, we are using Airmon utility already out there in the backtrack with the command start mon 0. What this command will actually do, it will create a monitor mode interface sitting on the top of a WLAN 0. Let me again do a ifconfig. Some processes are running. We have to kill that, like 1654 and 759. Oops. Now we have got a monitor mode enabled. Now let me explain you what actually happened out here. I have just given a monitor mode interface that is a WLAN 0. What actually happened? This Airmon utility just created a monitor mode interface sitting on the top of WLAN interface only. So this is actually a virtual interface, not an actual hardware interface. To verify this concept, let me just do a ifconfig. Here I have seen that here is a Mon 0 interface and here is a WLAN 0 interface. But it is actually not a physical interface, and we can verify it simply just by seeing a hardware address. It is absolutely similar hardware address, so we can say that it is a monitor mode interface and we can have that. So this was creating a monitor mode interface. Now let us proceed back to the slides. Okay, first of all, what we are going to learn that how actually the packets of the wireless network work. Because in this webinar, I'll be starting from the very basics that you don't know about anything of the wireless headers and these things. So we will start from that. So wireless packets can be divided into the three types. That is a management packet, control packet, and a data packet also. So to understand these packets, what we are going to do, we are simply going to capture some packets over the wireless. We are running our Wireshark, which is already pre-configured in the backtrack. Okay, we are going to capture an interface on a Mon 0. So we can capture this in this way. Just to save our time, I have already captured some of the packets out here. I have already got a folder name packets just to save our time, but you can also do that. So first of all, let us understand beacons. And let me just up my Wireshark loading these packets. So here is our variety of beacon frames that are being out here. So let us first understand how these actually packet look like and what are inbuilt in between these packets. So first of all, let us have this IEEE protocol version. So first of all, it says that the type and subtype is a beacon frame. As I told earlier, it is a broadcast packet, so anyone can capture this. Then we have got a frame control header. And you can also see this in our presentation also, that these are the MAC frames and these are all the things out here. But actually in explaining all these things in a slide, I thought why not to have a practical session. Then the duration. Then we've got a destination address. The destination address is simply being filled out with all F's out here. That is the highest value that you can set in this. So it is a broadcast. It is being broadcasted. The source address, it is the source hardware address. You can say BSS ID as well also. Then we have got here the same BSS ID. Then we have got a fragment number. what is the fragment, then we have got a sequence number and FCS. All the things which are out here mentioned as a frame body FCS, you can all visit out here, that each and every packet is out here. Apart from this, let us also discuss the frame control. Frame control is actually a monster packet and it contains lots of information in it. Like in the frame control, we have got a version 0. That is simply when the version of this 8.2.11 will change, it will set this bit as 1 and it is not previously compatible. Then it shows that beacon frame is a management packet. Its subtype is 8. And then we have got a variety of flags out here. Let us discuss some of them. So first of all is DS status, that is it leaving the distribution system or it is entering into a distribution system. This flag denotes that. Then we have got a more fragment flag, that sometimes what happens actually that the packet is quite a big in size. So actually what our access point does, it breaks out the packet into some fragments and then the packets travel. So it says this is the last fragment, this packet was not being broken. Then we have got a retry. Retry is kind of an important thing out here, that one can easily say that sometimes packet got lost over the network, as wireless is such a loosey medium and it lost so many of packets. Then what access point actually did, it just retransmit that packet so that it just reaches out. So here we have got a frame is not being retransmitted, and if it is power management packet or not, then we have got a more data, that after this packet, is there some data being associated with the similar packet? And it says no, no data is in the buffer. Then we have got a protected flag. Is this packet is being protected? Of course, it is a broadcast packet, that is a beacon frame, and there is no such hard need to protect it. And order flag is the data is strict order or not. So this was all about the frame control. And another important thing we have got in the wireless LAN management packet. We have got lots of information in that as well. First of all, it is being divided into two parts, that is a fixed and a tagged parameter. Fixed, we have got a timestamp out here. We have got a beacon interval, capability information, that the transmitter is an AP access point, and a bunch of other packets are also there, that what channel it is using, and is it a delay block packet or something else. So lots of juicy information out here. Then we've got a tagged parameter, that the SSID name is the Ashutosh. It can support these kind of data rates, and it also shows that the current working channel is 1. ERP information, supported rate, and a bunch of variety of other things. So this is how the packet study goes on when we deal with the wireless. Let us quickly come back to the slides. So this is all the thing we have discussed. That is a MAC frame. I have taken this slide directly from this URL, so acknowledgement to that also. And we have seen all these things like frame control, duration ID, and all a bunch of other things in this slide. Now what we learned so far, that we have got some points so far, that is everything was in clean plain text. We have seen that there was no such security mechanism or some encryption type out here that can encrypt these kind of data or something. So a whole punchline is that everything was in the plain text. So if I know all the fields and headers part out in the beacon frames, I can also broadcast some of the beacon frames easily by making a simple program. And I can say one can easily inject packets over the raw socket. So what practically we can done by learning all these things. So let me just quickly go back out here, and let me show you first that these are only the network which are being associated right now. And what we can do, that we can use a simple utility MDK3 that is already out there with the Mon0. First of all, let me show you what is this MDK. You can read about this, A variety of options and all these things are there, and it shows the beacon flood mode. So already utility is out with us. So we have got NDK with an option, first of all the interface. Then we have got the -B option, which we have already seen in above, that it can flood the beacon frames. And with a -N option, I can give any name to that beacon frames. So let me give that as a tag gig. And now you can see it is broadcasting out the packet with some fake MAC address that is also being changing frequently. And if I open just that thing, now the scroll bar has come and I can see a tag gig interface. And somebody who is trying to connect might get into a lots of trouble because this is actually not a real network. So kind of a troublesome thing out here that somebody seeking out for having a free access to the internet can get into a lots of trouble. So one can also inject a variety of exploits or something via the raw socket, and we will discuss this thing in a bit later also. That is the recent vulnerability that is being found in the WPA2 encryption. So apart from this, let us move to our slides and presentation also. So now it's time we have seen that how the broadcast and the beacon frames and all a bunch of other things works. Now let us try to understand how actually a client get connected to the access point. So here we have got our station and here we have got our access point. So first of all, what happens, access point just broadcasts some of the beacon frames to the station that yes, I am here present in the vicinity and you can try to connect with me. Similarly, the wireless clients such as your smartphones or your laptops try to connect by sending a probe request to the access point. In return to that request, access point sends you back some of the probe response that yes, your request is being granted and I am sending a response to it. After that, the wireless client sends an authentication request that if it is an open authentication or WEP or WPA encryption, whatever it is, authenticate me to that. After the successful authentication, it just sends an authentication response that yes, you have successfully connected to our network, that is a free network without encryption or with encryption, we have got connected to that. After that, the client sends an association request that yes, I have got associated with you, and finally it sends back an association response that okay, you have got associated with our access point, now you can send any data packet to the internet or you can receive any data packet from the internet or the network as well. After that, data packet travels to and from the internet, and after the data packet has gone out, there we have finally got a deauth request that yes, I am switching off my wireless interface and now I am simply disconnecting it by sending a deauth request saying that please deauth me. So this was all about understanding the connection. Now the probe request, you can also monitor a variety of probe requests also. So we have got a probe folder as well also, for just for the sake of saving the time, and I have already captured these, and I can see that probe request packet. So I have got a bunch of beacon frame as well also. Let me just quickly make a filter to have the, so we have got a beacon frame. I don't need any beacon frames. I can apply a filter as not selected. Then the remaining what I have got out here is my Apple client. I have tried to connect my Apple ID. So here it is the probe request, and if we scroll down we have got some acknowledgement also. We can also read about these probe requests and all these packets just by using a Wireshark, and we can capture any of the packets out here. So this is how actually the probe requesting goes on. Okay, let's come back to this. So now the things comes to the very practical aspect that some of the internet papers or some of the security expert says that why wireless security, how wireless security actually can be done. Some says just by not broadcasting your name. Some says just filter it with a MAC security. So is it a true thing that these MAC level security and all these things can handle out here, all the things out here? Let us have a practical look on that. First of all, let us have a look on the how actually these DAuth packets can help us in breaking into any network, or these DAuth packets are helpful for us. So for that we are going to use AirReplay NG utility. In the AirReplay NG we have got an option that is a DAuth. So what it will does, it will broadcast some deauthentication packet into the entire network, saying that all the clients want to get disconnect and please disconnect them. How to use that? Simply just by giving DAuth with a 0. 0 simply means to all station that we want to broadcast, and particular we want 1. So I want to just broadcast it on the Mon 0 interface. It also needs some couple of other options also. I just forgot these, so here it is. With the option -A, you can give a BSS ID, or with the -E option, you can give the name of the network, let's say wireless. Just by entering this command, you can disconnect the entire clients that are associated in the network. Of course, I'm not going to demonstrate this because it will disconnect me from the internet and from this webinar as well. So you can try this, and it's just a simple thing that one can also utilize this DAuth packet in such a disastrous manner that everyone will get disconnect, and lots of information that are very much required to send to the internet might get interrupted. Now the second thing comes to us, that how can one get the BSS ID, or how can one bypass the MAC filter security? For that we can just simply monitor the air by AeroDump on the Mon 0 interface, and I can simply just, what it is actually doing, it is showing me all the networks which are out there, like WPA, variety of others network. I can simply monitor. One thing you will notice that it is hopping on the different channel, as I have told you earlier. That is why it is getting so much things out here. Now let me just stop that. Let me talk about this. So this is actually the BSS ID, base service set identifier. Then we have got a beacon frame, data packets, channel as well, and finally we have got encryption type. That is, it is a WPA encryption. Open. Since open is such a bad security that most of the people, I don't know why they use these open. Even the WPA are being cracking so much easily, then how one can be safe in the open network security? So don't do that. Always use a WPA2 encryption, and also with some of the tips that I'll give you at the end of the session. So this is how one can monitor. And also you will notice that there is again a BSS ID and a station also. So what one can find out is that what are the stations that are being associated with this BSS ID. So just by simply monitoring the air, one can easily get what are the MAC that are being associated authentically by this BSS ID. So one can easily switch to that MAC and can get connected to that interface. And we are already having such utility like MAC changer already in the Backtrack. So quite an interesting thing out here. Backtrack is such a vast, so that it can create a lots of problem to the people and the security as well. If you are knowing all these security aspects, then it can be helpful to you as well. So apart from this, we have seen that one can easily get to know about the MACs and what are being associated. What else we can do? We can simply broadcast a simple DAuth packet into the air, and one can get to know that what are the MAC associated with that as soon as they will try connect back to the interface and all that. By using the similar thing, what I found out in the recent past, let me show you that. Here I have got a article in the Wireless Ergonomist, that is a pen test, very popular magazine. What I have done, similarly by using a DOS packet and creating a fake AP, I have tried to just disconnect a legal client and a legal access point and tried that client to just connect back to me, and just client successfully connected, but just by simply turning on its feature as an auto connect. So this attack was quite a very popular in the recent past, Wireless Ergonomist, and you can read that about that article on my website as well, or you can just have that pen test magazine also. So I have tried this on my Apple phone and it works very much fine. So quite a very interesting thing out here. Okay, let's further proceed with our presentation. We have seen that MAC filter can be bypassed and DAuth packet can also be. And we have also seen an auto connect feature. So now lastly, I would like to take a simple thing that how security can be done with the things. Is it open interface safe, or can we be safe by using a MAC filters, or can we be safe by just not broadcasting our interface or something like that? Or we can have a WEP encryption, WP encryption, or WPA2 encryption as well. So let us talk each of them one by one. First of all, I would say open authentication is not at all safe. If you are a company person or you are having a home, open interface is such a bad choice. One can easily war drive into a network, send some threatening mail to the government as well, and you can get a lots of trouble by using an open authentication security over the wireless. Second thing, we have seen MAC filters are of not at all any use, and it's such a wrong concept out given into the mind. And invisible or hidden networks are also of no use. Whether you broadcast your beacon frame or not, if an attacker comes to know about your network or he doesn't know, he can just broadcast some of the DAuth packet and can monitor your probe request as well. WEP, a very bad choice, I would say. WEP is being broken since so far. Now, after the WEP broken, the IEEE decided that enough of the fun thing, we will design a new protocol, that is the WPA, WPA2, and you can use them. WPA and WP. Now the question arises, is WPA and WPA network are secure? I would doubt to say yes into that. So for that, what I have done, I have already captured some of the packets, WPA packets, and let us check if the WPA packets are secure or not. What I have done just before this webinar, I have tried to monitor the network into this premises and just broadcasting the DAuth packet. Some client got disconnected and then he again got connected by using an auto connect feature. And after that, what I have done, I have tried to use an AirCrack NG with a WPA crack file. And what I have noticed out here, that WPA can easily hack into your WPA network as well also. It says that we have got a one handshake over this WPA network named wireless. Let me give that index as a 2. It will say me that please give me a dictionary. Very important thing to know that the dictionary is being asked. We will see that in a bit. With the -W option, I have to give a dictionary, that is a pen test. In that we have got a password folder word list. And here we have got two dictionaries, it's a dark code list and Hitesh. Let's first have a Hitesh. Option again 2, that WPA2. And Eureka, we have got key found. Apart from the key, we have got a master key, transient key, and a EPOL hash MAC also. So by keeping such a weak password, that is a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, one can easily get into a hack, but just by simply having a handshake. And Backtrack is having such a vast word list and dictionary files that you can get into a lots of trouble. So finally, I would like to say that keep your key not to be as such easily guessable like your phone numbers, your simple 1 2 3 4 5, or your company name as well. Try to keep all these things in such a unguessable manner that no one can easily hack into the network. So this was all about the WPA network and a bunch of other things we have seen so far practically also. Okay, now I would like to say to the moderator that you can please take over. This was all I was having in my mind while having all these WPA network and the security.
Hitesh, there's no sound coming from your side. Can you please ensure that your connections are fine?
Yeah, it's connections are very much fine. I just revert back to you. I just completed my session. Hello?
Can we take up the question and answers now?
Yeah, sure.
Can you please read the questions out from your chat pane? You can unlock it and enlarge it, and please read them out.
Okay. The first question is out here that it was wonderful. Can I get this PPT? Sure, you can get this PPT. You can send me a mail at hitesh@hiteshchaudhary.com and you can get that PPT. This is the only question I'm having. Are there any other questions?
Enlarge your chat pane. I've sent you a lot of questions there.
They are not coming right now.
Have you unlocked the chat pane?
Yeah, I have done that.
Can you please resize it and enlarge it?
Yeah, I've done that. I have already enlarged that.
So there are no questions in there.
No, there are no questions out here.
Can you please scroll it?
No, there is no scroll bar out here. Just having a one question. Hi, it is wonderful.
All right.
Can I get this PPT?
So I guess there's some issue. I'll read out the questions for you, and you can answer them then. So our first question is
sure.
from Mr. Sharik Rice. He's asking how can we break WEP encryption key of home routers?
WEP is being broken since the many time ago, and to break a WEP key, what you have to do, just simply monitor into the air, and then you have to collect the weak IVs. Probably in some of the next webinar, I could take all these live demonstration of the WEP cracking, but what you have to do, just simply monitor into the air just by having, you can say that, weak IVs, and then just write them into the sum file and try to get back all these ARP requests to the router. It is simply like this. The XOR can be obtained again by sending a XOR again. So you can just having that error dump utility, you can monitor into the air. Then by just using a air crack utility, you can simply get crack into a WEP network. And I would not suggest to use WEP because it can 100% be broken out here. Yes, next
Another
please.
question is how to implement AES and DES in current technology.
Okay, to monitor into the AES and let me just live show you how to. I am just showing you in my interface that how we can implement AES and the security. So here I am. So in any of the network, if you want to configure the AES or the TKIP, then just go to the wireless. In that you have to get into the security. And as soon as you give a network authentication as a WPA PSK or WPA enterprise, it will ask you as a WPA encryption type whether you want a TKIP or AES or you want a AES plus TKIP. I would recommend TKIP as it is having a great mechanism of such flipping out, rotating out your key in a very short interval of time. So I would recommend TKIP as well. So that's how you can get TKIP or AES on your network. Yes, please.
There's one more question which says, what knowledge of hardware do we need to use this?
Okay, the hardware knowledge is as not much required out here. The only hardware knowledge that you must know that your card should be in what channel it is. So the only knowledge you need to about is that we discussed in the starting of the seminar. In what range our card is working out. Is it a 3.6 gigahertz channel or 5 gigahertz channel? This is the only required knowledge that you need to understand the wireless and its basics. Yes, please.
Mr. Muthu Kumar is asking how to improve security OSI layers.
Okay, OSI layer is a different thing than a wireless network, I would say. Although it is a similar part, but OSI doesn't comes under this topic. OSI is such a different topic from the wireless, so it would be rather better not to talk about that right now because it will divert us from our topic that is a wireless.
Okay, we have a question from Mr. Rajiv Mode. He says if it's not broadcast packet, will it be visible? If yes, does this show all the information you have shown in Wireshark?
No, if you doesn't broadcast your wireless name or the beacon frames, it will not show all these packets, and you can get a bit safe by using that. But I would not say that you can see the entire packet scenario in the wireless. But I would recommend to you that not to broadcast your name so that any hacker cannot get into your name or he cannot do arbitrary packet injection that we have just seen out here.
He's asking
Yes,
what is
please.
the difference between WEP open and WEP shared?
Hello. Can you please repeat?
The question is what is the difference between WEP open and WEP shared?
Okay. The difference between WEP open and WEP shared is just a not bit much, but after being broken of the WPA open, it just uses one or maximum of two type of key encryption. And in WPA shared, it uses a max of 4 key. But I would again say that 1 key or 4 key, it doesn't make any difference. WEP can be broken if it is open as well or it is shared as well. So not much difference in that, both can be broken easily. Yes, please.
There's another question from Mr. Himanshu. By using Mac changer, can I crack the Mac filter utility?
Sure. By using a Mac changer filter utility, let me show you that how you can use a Mac changer utility just by simply typing a Mac changer with a --h command. You can get a variety of options out here. That is, you can change the MAC. Once you get to know that what are the authentic MAC that are associated with the access point, you can simply change your MAC with the associated MAC, and you can simply deauth that particular client, and you can connect easily with that. So this is how it works. Yes, please.
There's a question from Mr. Vipul Joshi. He's saying, what is the location of brute force list in Backtrack, or from where to get it?
Okay, the location, let me just switch back to the CD. The location of the brute force list in the Backtrack is in this pen test. Then we have got a passwords. And if you hit a ls out here, you can get a variety of brute force list out here. And one of my favorite one is the word list. And here it is. Dark code ls is already out there. I have made a custom one for me, Hitesh. And in the Backtrack 6 also you can see some of my word list custom design that contains you can say permutation and combination of every 10-digit phone number, or you can say this word list will contain each and every phone number that is being available in the India. So wait for the Backtrack 6 or just try to use that for the time being. Yes, please.
A person is asking, where can I find the scripts you used in this session?
You do not need to download any such script. I was not using any such of my personal script or from the downloaded. Each and everything that I have just used was already pre-configured in the Backtrack. You do not need to worry about any script like Airmon, Aerodump, Aircrack, or any other. All of these things are already pre-configured in all the versions of the Backtrack. Yes, please.
Mr. Manish Sawant is asking, which protocol is the most secure for use in home wireless network and for office network?
Actually, security is equally important for me at the home as well, at the office as well, because you are accessing your email from home and from your office as well. So I would not say that office will have a higher security and home can have a less security. So I would encourage you to please use WPA2 with a TKIP, and of course with a secure key that you can have that is not available in any dictionary, like using some of the special characters, some numeric values, some caps lock characters, and some lowercase characters. So please use a WPA TKIP with a strong password. Yes, please.
Mr. Mohammad Rizwan Ali is asking, hi, what are the different tools that we have for Windows to check the wireless security breaches?
Can you please repeat the question?
What are the different tools we have for Windows to check the wireless security breaches?
I cannot say much about Windows. I am very much less on the Windows, but the tools that are available on the Windows is a Wi-Fi Fish Finder and NetStumbler, and Wireshark is also available on the Windows platform also. But to understand the wireless and its basics, one need to be switched into the Linux platform, and that too as a Backtrack platform also. So Windows is not at all good to understand the wireless and basic security. So no harm or offense to the Windows, but Backtrack is quite a good tool to understand the network of the wireless. Yes, please.
Can you tell something about the significance of static and dynamic IP over the internet? It's from Mr. Rishikesh.
Okay. Actually, the IP session is kind of a very different thing, but one thing I would like to talk about is that I have discussed in my wireless enormous attack also. The static and dynamic IP are kind of a different thing from the wireless, but I would like to talk about the Cretaceous ARP packets. What actually happened when you try to connect to the fake interface that we have created right now with the name of TechGig. So if anyone tries to connect his mobile or smartphone with that network, it will send him with a Cretaceous ARP packet. So the question should be not with the dynamic or static, it is about the Cretaceous ARP request, he would get a IP of range 169.x.x.x. So this is actually a gratuitous ARP packet, not about the dynamic or the static IP address. Yes, please.
We have another question from Mr. Srinivas Nath. He's asking, we have seen how WPA can be cracked. How do we make it secure?
The only thing that you can get to secure a WPA network is just by having a secure and a very hard password that cannot be broke by the brute force or by the word list. This is the only method so far, and in the recently we have also seen that insider can do a variety of attack with the WPA also. So don't make your encryption as a EES. There is already a vulnerability out there that is known as Hole 196 that was being recently developed by the network. What was the company name? I'm just forgetting that. So there is a vulnerability out there with the AES mechanism. Don't use the AES mechanism, use the ticket one with a strong password. Only way to secure a WPA network. Yes, please.
Okay, a lot of our listeners are asking you to display your email ID on the screen since they were not able to hear it properly. Can you please display your email ID on the screen?
Yeah, sure. Let me open up my profile. So this is my profile. Let me hope it is visible. This is my email ID as well as my Facebook profile.
It's visible. So we have a question from Mr. Shashi Bhushan. He's asking, how can we create a dictionary of passwords in BTR?
To create simply a dictionary file, you can use any kind of backtrack. Is not such a different thing. You can simply create by using a Java program, C program, or any such other program, or you can manually write it. Like if you see my dictionary file in the backtrack, let me just go to that. And here, what I have done, I have just created this Hitesh by just using a vim command. And if I do that, I can simply get into this. I just created 2-3 files out here. Just by getting in an insert mode, you can create any of these files. And also you can write some of the simple Java program or Python program that can having a simple loop of creating some dictionary files or something like that. So it is actually backtrack is not such a different thing from any other Linux. It is just very much simple. Yes, please.
Mr. Santosh is asking, how secure is the WPA2?
I would say WPA is the most secure till now, but I cannot say that it is absolutely secure. It is very much secure because we are not having any other option other than the WPA2 right now. This is the only protocol available to us that is having a less number of threats. So I would say it's not a right question to put, is it totally secure or not? Yes.
Okay, Mr. Vikas Yadav is asking, where can we learn the commands that you just typed?
I would say that everything is already pre-configured in the backtrack, and if you are interested in learning all these commands or all such things which I have used, what you can do, you can simply type that command. Let me show you how. Let's say I want to use AirReplay NG. Just type that AirReplay NG and hit enter, and you can get a variety of options and its usage in that only. Like it is saying that usage is out here, that you have to give AirReplay, then option, then AirReplay interface. I have already shown you how to make interface like Monzero and all other. Then variety of options like -b is for BSS ID. Description is out in front of them. This is how actually I learned to use these commands. And what you can do, simply use these options. And in many of the things, there is a README file already out there for its usage. But for the commands that I have used, you do not need about them. Just simply type that command, hit enter, and it will show you all the things that you can. And still, if you feel any problem or any difficulty in using them, just write to my email, and I can show you how to simplify that problem. Yes, please.
So Yashobantara is asking, what type of security we want to meet for our regular BSNL Data One service as a general user. I think he wishes to ask what kind of security we can have for our regular BSNL Data One service.
As I have told previously also, security is equally important to the BSNL user, Airtel user, home users, or for the office user. Security is equally important, so use WPA network with a strong password. Again, a same answer to that. Yes, please.
A person is asking, can I restrict my access point as a user?
No, you cannot restrict your access point as a user. You need to be administrator or the owner of that access point. It is not at all possible right now. I would not say it is not at possible in the future also, but I would say it is not at all possible right now.
Okay. Mr. Himanshu Jangra is asking, is it possible to crack non-dictionary words?
Right now it is not at all possible to crack non-dictionary words with the present word list, because WPA is using such a secure mechanism of having enouns, anouns, and a bunch of other things like that. So right now I would say it is not at all possible, but you can decrypt the packets by using some chop attacks or 4x attacks. A bunch of other are also there. So captured packet can be decrypted by using some of these attacks, but entire network key cannot be cracked by using a non-dictionary words. Yes, please.
Well, our last question for the day is, what kind of password policy we have to use while setting the wireless network key?
Can you please repeat the question?
Is what kind of password policy we should have while setting the wireless network key?
Okay. To set up a wireless key, first of all, I would recommend you to please change your default password which are there. Like in the admin panel, we have got admin as that. So please change that. And talking about the wireless perspective, don't make all these as a very easy password ones. Use a special character, a caps lock character, and numeric value, and bunch of these makes unguessable password. So please use them to have your all these things. Thank you so much.
Security and breaches. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgeek.com by tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a great evening.